Hey guys, so yesterday I finally got to the theater and saw two movies. Yesterday was Friday, and by the time I'm doing these reviews, it's Saturday. I would have done a pre screening, but I had some family obligations I had to take care of. I was pretty busy on Thursday. I have some family from out of town visiting, so I had to spend my time with them. And I was actually surprised I had time to go to the movies yesterday when I did. But I did. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go get this over with. The first movie I went and saw was Ant Man. Ant Man is a movie that I was looking forward to mainly because it was a Marvel Cinematic Universe film, and even though from the trailers I wasn't that impressed by it, the movie. I honestly think that the production history of this thing is more interesting than the actual movie in some ways. Like, if you don't know, like, this movie's been in production, like in the works for like from all the way since the '80s. It's crazy to think of. But it wasn't like until like 2003 or something like that. Edgar Wright like started, the guy who made Shaun of the Dead and The World's End and Hot Fuzz, took this movie as a dream project of his. And he was working on this, like I said, since like 2003, and that's long before they even thought about doing the Avengers. And he didn't get the green light until uh, the Marvel Cinematic Universe film started. And then when he got the green light, he started working on this film. He was all the way into pre-production of the film, and then he quit. Like, this movie had been like a 12-year or like a 10-year odyssey for him, and then all of a sudden he quit. It like was shocking, like, to everybody, like including me. Like, I knew how much he wanted to do this film, and it was just dumbfounding. Like that, like he, I guess, like said he was having disagreements with Marvel on what, like, the direction of the movie. So he, like I said, he quit, and that was really disappointing. And then they brought Peyton Reed, and they're like, that's a huge step down from Edgar Wright. I'm not dissing Peyton Reed at all, but like I said, he's no, like, Edgar Wright is a way better director and has like a better filmography. Um, and like and the trailers for this thing weren't that impressive either. Like I said, it didn't look that impressive. But I was going in with the mentality that Marvel hasn't done me wrong yet. I even their weakest movies, like I think the four movies are probably their weakest, or I still like them. I've liked every movie they've done up to this point, so I'm like, I'm going in with that, thought mentality that Marvel, you know, they continue to churn out really good films. So here's hoping that I'm right. This is another great film, and you know what? It was. It was a pretty good film. I liked it. I generally liked it a lot more than the trailer. It was better than what the trailers let on. I'll tell you that. If you were like one of those people that are like, I don't know about this thing, it doesn't look that very good. For the trailers, trust me, it's a lot better than the trailers make it out to be. Um, for a while there, almost, I was thinking that this movie was better than the Avengers 2, but by the end of it, I was like, nah, this isn't as good as the Avengers Age of Ultron. It came close, but it wasn't. And I'll explain why a little bit here in a second. Paul Rudd is amazing in this movie. I'm glad to see he got like a lead role in this, or lead role in an action movie. That's amazing. That's cool. He's really does some really solid acting in this film, and he's really charming, and he's the stereotypical uh, ex-con, or dad who's an ex-con who just wants to see his little girl, and he wants to get away from the life of crime. Although all he had ever did was like steal money from rich people, which and gave it back to the poor. He was basically Robin Hood, and he never really did anything really wrong, but uh, and he, like I said, I like his character a lot. I thought he was definitely, his acting in this movie was really good. Michael Douglas, of course, is really good in this movie too. Oh my god, he was great. Um, I like, any time of day. I like Michael Douglas, and the chemistry between him and Paul Rudd was pretty fun. They did have a lot of good chemistry. The girl Eva, what's that girl's name? Lily, I forget the hell her name is. She's that elf chick, that useless elf chick in the Hobbit movies. And she was alright. She, played a badass chick pretty well. I thought, she could pull that role off. I mean, even though I thought her character in Hobbit was useless, fucking useless. It had no point being there other than it being a love interest. She had some pretty badass moments in that film, and she's badass in this. Like I said, she can pull that role off pretty goddamn well. This movie, I kind of like this movie in the fact that it basically is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids meets Ocean's 11. I'm not making that up. Throughout this whole film, I was sitting there going, I was like, this is so reminiscent of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's not even funny. It is. It really is. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that, are reminiscent of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, giant ants. Like, when they shrink down, they're, giant ants and stuff like that. It was interesting. And, like I said, it's also a heist movie. They're basically... The whole movie is they're trying to steal this yellow jacket suit so that the guy who created it won't be able to use it as a deadly weapon and all that stuff. Like I said, I never read the comics, but it was fun. Also the 3D in this movie when he was very small, like ant size. It was the 3D was used pretty effectively, especially that scene where he goes subatomic. Spoiler alert at the end. That was a really trippy scene, but the utilization of 3D in that scene was great. Also, this movie is really fucking violent. Anybody else notice that? Oh my god! Whenever the bad guy at one point he points a gun at a guy, and he shoots something at him, and this gun makes the person shrink. And instead of shrinking, he just turns into a pile of goo. What the fuck just happened? That's the most violent death I think I've ever seen. And then he also tries to shrink. This is the villain of the movie. He tries to shrink sheep. And the poor sheep end up with the same fate in that they end up being a pile of goo. You're like, Jesus Christ, movie. For those poor fucking sheep, man. It's I felt bad for this little sheep. Shit, God, that was violent as shit. And then I'm getting the spoilers here, but the death of the villain in this movie is violent as hell too. Oh my god, it gets some pretty gruesome deaths in this movie. Holy shit. Sorry, my nose is all stuffed up here a second. Now, where I have some problems with this movie, there's two things I had problems with this movie. One, Michael Pena. I love him. I think he's a great actor. He is, but this is one of his worst performances in his career. He is basically the embodiment of a Mexican stereotype if I've ever fucking seen one. And he's the annoying comic relief that I fucking can't stand half the time. I will give him this though. He is no Kat Dennings. Kat Dennings is the reason why I almost loathe the fucking horror movies. She is terrible in those films. And then For the Dark World, I almost consider that movie better than the first four. But the one thing that kills that movie for me is that they added additional fucking comic relief alongside Kat Dennings. He's not as bad. Like I said, Michael Pena is not as bad as Kat Dennings is in the horror movies, but Michael Pena is somewhat obnoxious in this damn thing. Like I said, he's like every Mexican stereotype. All he needed to be was wearing a sombrero and eating a burrito, and that'd be, he would be just a perfect Mexican stereotype. Um, Also, this movie suffers from the same goddamn problem that a lot of these Marvel movies suffer from, and that is it has one of the weakest, probably the weakest villain in the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point. This villain sucks. Like, he is really forgettable. Yellow Jacket, he doesn't even put on the Yellow Jacket suit until the very end, like the last 10 minutes. And he's so fucking forgettable. Oh god, is he forgettable. Like, up to this point, Loki's the only villain that has been the most memorable and one that will stick with you for a long time. Ultron had that chance, but the only thing that made him memorable, Ultron, for me, was that he was played by Spader. And Spader brought life to that fucking character. Oh, fuck yeah, man. Like, James Spader, like, he brought, like, his A game for that role. And like I said, like, this villain is a step down from Ultron, trust me. Yeah, like I said, yeah, it suffers, like, most Marvel movies had that problem where it's just, it's just, really lame, forgettable villains. Also, the CGI in this movie is somewhat questionable here and there. It's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, because like the ants from like the trailers look pretty bad, but sometimes they could look good and sometimes they couldn't. It's like, really, they couldn't really get a convincing looking CGI ant. I don't know why. Anyways, also, I guess just talk about what I thought about the. Oh, speaking of this, if you've ever seen a Marvel movie up to this point, this bugs the hell out of me. You should know that there's going to be an end credit scene. There's a mid credit scene and an end credit scene, and both, like, there's two additional scenes at the end of this movie. Sorry, man, my nose is all stuffed up. And both of them, the mid-credit scene kind of teases, like, what could happen in an Ant-Man sequel if they ever make it. And the second one is a pretty interesting cameo. Involves a pretty interesting cameo if you haven't seen it yet, or haven't been spoiled it yet. It's pretty cool. I like the cameo at the end of the end credit scene. I think, like, the cameo at the end credit scene kind of, like, somewhat subtly set up Civil War. I thought, maybe, just maybe, I don't know yet. Like, just like one line in that end credit scene kind of felt like it was setting up the Civil War movie coming up. That's the next one coming up. So yeah, go see Ant-Man. It's a good movie. If you liked all the Marvel movies up to this point, you should like this one too. It's really well, acted. I love Paul Rudd in this fucking thing. I love Michael Douglas. They, stood out performance-wise. Obviously, like I said, Michael Pena is not very good, but he didn't piss me off where I, like, was walking away infuriated with the movie. Like I said, it's a good sit. I kind of, watching it after I got done watching it, I was like, I do wonder how different this movie is from what Edgar Wright's version of it would have been. I wish we could have got that version. I guarantee you it probably would have been better too. As far as trailers, I did get a few new ones, a lot of pleasant surprises. The Finest Hours, that's a movie about what they claim, at least the trailer claims, is the greatest Coast Guard rescue of all time. Okay, like when the Coast Guard rescues a crew of a sinking ship in the middle of a hurricane. It's like set in the 50s, I think, or something like that. I never heard of it. Like, it looks interesting. It could be good, and it's gonna be in 3D, of course. Um, Fantastic Four. I got a new the final trailer for Fantastic Four. Again, I've said it. I don't know what else I could say about this. I'm interested. I'm hoping that this will be good. I know a lot of people have low expectations going into this. I don't. I want to give it a chance. It looks like it could be all right. I like Josh Trank. Hold on a second. He made Chronicle. I love Chronicle. I'm hoping he'll do good with this. I got a new trailer for Goosebumps. Like a week after I got the first trailer for Goosebumps, I got a new trailer for it. I'm like, that was weird. It just has a few additional scenes here and there in it. It still looks like it'll be a lot of fun. I got a trailer for Everest. It's basically a disaster movie where I guess it's based off a true story of a 1996 Mount Everest disaster where these guys go up to the top of Mount Everest and then they try to climb back down and there's a huge storm that happens and they're stuck on the fucking mountain. That sucks. And it's going to be in 3D and that looks like it's going to be terrifying in 3D. And I just learned it's being made by the guy who made Contraband and Two Guns. I'm like, alright. He's made, he's a pretty good action director. I get behind that. And the last trailer that I got which was a huge pleasant surprise for me, was the Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice trailer. This is the one that just aired at Comic-Con, basically. The one that you saw at Comic-Con that just got released online like a couple days ago is what I got. I didn't get a chance to talk about the first trailer for Batman vs Superman. I was not that impressed by it. I was like, this looks stupid. It doesn't look very good. But this trailer, oh my god, this trailer makes this movie look epic as shit. I love the fact I'm all for this movie, mainly because this movie, I feel like was like an answer to all the critics of Man of Steel, where everybody bitched about Superman causing most of the destruction, not General Zod, and he caused more destruction than General Zod. I felt like everybody. I pretty much feel that same fucking way, and this movie's Superman is the reason why Batman exists is because he sees Superman as a threat because he destroys more things than he saves. And I kind of like that. I'm like, alright, this could be kind of interesting. And that fucking scene at the end of the trailer where Superman pulls off the fucking door of the Batmobile and Batman just fucking stands up. I'm like, that looks awesome. That makes you geek out like a motherfucker. Yeah. This is a movie that took way too fucking long this should have happened years ago. I don't know why it's taking this long. I kind of keeping my hopes up now. I'm gonna say this right now. I hate the people that are already saying, "Oh, death the Marvel Studios, rest in peace, Marvel Studios." I wouldn't go that far. Wait till the movie actually comes out. A lot of people were impressed by the Man of Steel trailer and then hated the movie when it came out, so we'll see. And I'm still not sure what the fuck Lex Luthor, why you need Lex Luthor, why you need Wonder Woman, why you need Aquaman, why you need, from what I've heard, maybe Doomsday in this fucking thing. They put Doomsday in this. This is just you don't need that shit in this movie. You got Batman versus fucking Superman. You don't need Lex Luthor. You don't need Wonder Woman. You sell it just on fucking Batman versus Superman. It's a movie that a lot of people have been wanting for fucking years, including me. It feels like this movie might end up being the equivalent of Amazing Spider-Man 2, where they threw everything at you except the kitchen sink. There's 500 storylines going on at once in one movie that could have fit 5 different movies. I'm worried that's what's gonna happen. They've jam-packed this movie. They gotta try to introduce all these characters, everything else. I don't know. I could go on about it. I have high hopes. I hope it's gonna be good. I would love to see DC give Marvel their a run for their money. That'd be awesome. I love it. I love competition. That'd be fun. I will, I've seen the Suicide Squad trailer. I'll talk about that whenever I get a trailer for that. I'm surprised I didn't get one. I was like, maybe I'll get a Suicide Squad trailer. No, I didn't. Kind of disappointed I didn't. But anyways, until then, I'll be back. Actually, I forgot. I'll be back in a few minutes here with another review. So I'll talk to you guys